love it. I love it. If you're just pulling up, do me a favor, put the temperature and the city by which you listen or view us from in the chat so that we can kind of get an idea of what's going on around the world. Good to see you guys tuning in on KBC and TV by way of YouTube, LinkedIn, and always want to say Instagram, Facebook. Yeah. Everybody's starting to pull up in the audience today. Let's go around the room before we do roll call, find out how everybody's evening was. I'm still getting used to these buttons, Sheree. There's different colors for stuff. It's just all kinds of things. Yeah, we're going to figure it out. Barbara's in the building. Christina's in the building. Rocky is in the building. Oh, boy. Jennifer made it back in the building on Clubhouse. We got all kinds of things happening, y'all. And I have not had coffee. And I can't have any coffee because I have lab work to do this morning, getting all my numbers straight, Rocky. And so, when you're getting ready to get out of the country, there's a lot of little teeny things you got to do in order to make sure that you are on point. Christine Grand Rising, how was your evening, ma'am?
Good morning. I had a good evening. The non-teching stuff is distracting me. But I had a great evening this morning. Last night, Mompreneur Cohort 6, Session 3. Yeah, we were on fire talking about time blocking and setting boundaries. It was a whole moment in time. I always think the third one is going to be like the light one. We're going to have fun. No, I had fun. I don't know if they did because I got in their business, but I had a good evening last night. I'll yield my mic so I can figure out what's going on over here.
She said I got in their business. Said, listen. Yeah, this is called teacher's fun. You don't know if the students are having a good time, but you would pay yourself to be there. Are you kidding me? This is hilarious.
I absolutely would. The information is invaluable.
I absolutely love it. Rocky, speaking of information being invaluable, I know you're in that class. So are you good this morning, Rock? How was your evening?
Good morning. I'm good. Yesterday was the Mondays ever, but it got better. I came home, gamed a little bit, worked on my business, and I was in a cohort last night, fully focused. And I hosted my Clubhouse room, and I just, introduced them into my academy and stuff. And the thing about it is interesting. Everyone says Clubhouse is dead. Every time I get on, I get between 50 and 100 people every single time.
Every single time.
Is Clubhouse dead or is your community dead? Because I love my community. I love my community, and I'm super excited to get these 19 days over with so I can dive in full speed ahead.
Did she just say 19 days? 19 days? Ooh.
18 days to wake up.
Listen, only spoken like a true soldier. You know what I'm saying, Sheree? I think we had 47 days on the wake up. Listen, I started posting it like that, Rocky. I didn't know if anybody would get the reference and a wake up, right? Because you can't even consider that last one a full day. I'm so sorry. That's the one that, summer break has happened for you. You know what I'm saying? Forever break has happened for you.
I think they're taunting us though, Coach, because the last day of school is June 9th. They're making us come in that Monday. I guess to clean up our workspace. I'm like, can't we just do that the same day the kids leave?
Right. I'll come in that evening. I'll come in the weekend after. Shoot. Anyway. Sheree Grand Rising, great morning. How was your evening, lady?
Good morning, Grand Rising, everybody. Welcome to the morning show. To those of you viewing us, to those of you listening this morning, I had a good evening. I rested yesterday. Yesterday was a day of resting and recuperation for me. Had a couple of meetings, but nothing really too deep. So, did some light work, but nothing. It wasn't a heavy day at all, and so that was good. So, yeah, I rested well. I was sharing with the team, the crew here earlier that I'm transitioning from my CPAP to this mouth guard.
I'm not in agreement.
Glenn is shaking his head.
I'm not in agreement with that. She has not
I've
consulted
had
her doctor.
good sleep the last 2 nights. I have very mild sleep apnea, so I don't think it's that serious. But I slept well last night, so glad to be here today.
Glad to be here today. Listen, I'm telling your doctor on you. I'm calling somebody because, Y'all, they be having all these new commercials on TV about if you use a CPAP and you no longer want to do that, then you can have this implanted under your lip.
The implant
But
doesn't
wait,
go under your lips and your
there's
chest.
more. We have a new one that goes on your butt cheek. But wait, there's more. At the same time, we can put it right on the left side of you where your lung would be, and it will help you not need a CPAP. Call 1-800-855-CPAP.
At
No
least I
more.
have a diagnosis. What about the people that have sleep sleep problems, did a sleep study, and they said there's nothing wrong with you? That's the struggle.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that would be strong.
And I did my research. The product I'm using is FDA approved for mild
care.
sleep apnea. So
Well, then just run it past your doctor then.
I will when I see them. I'm not keeping it a secret, but I'm not going to go and pay for an appointment to tell them that.
Isn't the CPAP uncomfortable? It looks
Yes.
uncomfortable.
It is in the beginning, but
It is.
I've been using it for 7
It
years,
is.
8 years, and 10 years, something crazy like that. I can't sleep without my CPAP. If I don't have it, I'm in trouble. So yeah. The pregnant pause is on purpose. I'm looking at Cherie on KBCN like she ain't looking at me. Christine, why are you laughing? You having too much fun out of this.
I am. I'm having a blast because that's Sean and I. Sean actually did that. He bought something to help with his snoring. I don't think it was FDA approved. And it just so happened that a week after he bought it, he got pneumonia.
See.
And I don't even know. I don't think it had anything to do with it, but I, of course, connected it. No shade, Cherie, no shade. I know you do your research, but Sean doesn't. So he bought it and they couldn't even find the spot on his liver. It took them a while to even, he was in the hospital and it was a whole thing. But yeah. So yeah, as long as you did your research, Cherie, and as long as you go tell your doctor, I support you, sis. I'm going
Cherie, listen.
I'm gonna go sip my coffee.
I'm cut it out with the gifts already. Look, I'm not talking to you. Barbara, Grand Rising, great morning. We missed you yesterday. We know you had a lot of work to do. How was your weekend, lady? How was your evening? We're not talking to Coach Cherie. I'm just saying.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Good morning. My day and my evening, of course, my weekend was great. My day and my evening yesterday was full. It started off early, but all is well. It's a new beginning, and I'm excited. So I'm better than amazing. And true CPAP story. My cousin has a CPAP, and we were traveling, and she had forgotten hers. And when I say I wanted to kick her out of the room,
listen,
because the snoring was horrendous. So
let me tell you something right now, and I'm gonna just say this out loud. You know, this is a professional CPAP wearer saying this. It's not just about the snoring. The snoring is a symptom of something else, and that's the part that scares me. CPAPs are designed to get oxygen to your organs because when you're snoring or you're not sleeping well, your organs are being oxygen deprived. And that's where the complication. I'm not talking to you right now. I have the mic. Excuse me. It's my time. Okay, it's my time. And so at any rate, Barbara, the truth is that yeah, you should have put her out and sent her home for that CPAP. That's all I'm saying. Jennifer J, come on, save me, because they think this is a game. Come on, please.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, for me, unfortunately, there's nothing I could do. It's the way my anatomy was made. I was put on CPAP a long time ago, and it had nothing to do with weight. Like some people, yes, they can lose weight, it'll go away, all of those things. But some of us are just born with our anatomy screwed up. Trust me, I tried to skate my CPAP away, but that did not work. So I don't know how Sister Girl left without hers. I'm like you, Glenn. I'm attached.
Bruh. I'm like stopping past the local sleep center and saying, "Can I rent one?"
Help me.
Yeah, me.
That's the first thing I grab. Make sure
I ain't got my drawers. I got my CPAP. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I digress. My
Lord.
bad. I know you didn't ask for all that. Listen, we are in a listen. I apologize, family. The morning show. Y'all are like, why are we here? What is the subject today? Yeah, we were asking people about how their evening was. Cherie triggered me. I accepted that. I don't know what happened. I need to go talk to my therapist. Come on, Jennifer. Well, how was your evening, lady? Did you get some good sleep?
Yeah, I did. And this really does tie into what we're talking about, because if I don't wear that CPAP machine, I cannot focus. I am off totally. Like, I'm sleep deprived, I'm tired, I'm groggy, I can't think. So it definitely ties into the mental health. But my evening was good. I'm preparing for a couple presentations I got. One tomorrow night, one Thursday in the afternoon. So just getting ready for that. I had a couple late meetings last night, so that was good. So just getting ready for this new season to me.
I love it. It's a Teach Me Tuesday. It's a Tell Me Something Good Tuesday. John Schultz is in the building. Good morning, sir. Grand Rising. How was your evening?
Everything is working together for my good. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Barbara keeps stealing my line. I'm better than amazing. I'm the originator. Anyway,
you just needed to let everybody know.
Get off my line. So
biting my lines.
Yeah, stop biting my line. So I got to hang out yesterday. Did some administrative work, but last night went up to my good friend who's been walking with me for 32 years. Went to go hang out on his back deck, a little cigar and a little mail talk. And kind of these was two of my original inner circle gentlemen, the elder that married Stacy and I. So just kind of talking about life and catching up. He now lives in the Dominican Republic, so he comes home 4 times out the year, once a quarter, check on his mom and all that and good stuff, and kind of just hung out and talking about good old life and what's next moves and where are you and how things are going. So it's always a good time when you have your longtime friends turn brothers, have some good old accountability talk of redirection, because the elder always gonna be the elder. He led the singles ministry at New Birth when I was there. I was one of his leaders in that ministry. And so we just kept a bond and connection for a lifetime. So yeah, man, everything is working together.
Listen, speaking of everything working together, listen. Truth of the matter is, in order to get things done, sometimes you need a team. You know what I mean? You need a little help. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what y'all's favorite workout sound is. I'm listening.
Coach,
yes, sir.
I was trying to get you to go to William Murphy. Everything is working.
I know you. I know you are. But I already had this one queued up. I'm sorry. I apologize. I will switch it over to the ministry part in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to take it up. I appreciate you. Listen, I ran the wrong route, sir. This is when the quarterback fusses with the receiver. How you run that route? I called this play. I love it. Grand Rising, everybody. 7:16, 16 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Teach Me Tuesday. Speaking of Teach Me Tuesday, we got a audible that we've called. We're having Monty. Y'all pray for him. He was battling the flu really bad, really, really bad. Him, his wife, the baby. It was a whole situation. So he's not going to pull up for Teach Me Tuesday today. But filling in for Teach Me Tuesday is Coach Cherie. So y'all make sure y'all sign up, or not sign up, but just share the room out, please. And that way we can get everybody in the room. She's going to talk some things relative to mental health. That is her area. We woke up this morning. She was doing her research in terms of, she's been Well, I'll let her tell you that. I'll let her tell you that. Let me just say this. This woman is always researching the subject because it's where she lives, and I just love it. So I think it's appropriate. We're definitely going to have her pull up later on around 8 o'clock. What's your favorite workout song, y'all? I'm going here on purpose. Put it in the chat. What's the one that gets you going in the morning? Hey, let's go. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. The one that gets you going. Maybe it's just an artist. Anything by this artist is going to get you fired up and getting ready to go. Reason why I'm asking that is because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this year it seems to coincide with a flurry of violent headlines. For many, this constant bad news adds to the stress of everyday life, which may already feeling overwhelming, right? According to National Alliance on Mental Illness, each year in the U.S., 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness, and 1 in 6 children ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder. That's millions of people, folks. In 2021, less than half of adults received actual treatment. And so why do I mention those statistics? Because I think one of the treatment forms for many people is simply getting up and moving. I can't tell you how many people that I've run into where they literally are implementing a physical regimen to help them when it comes to their mental health. What's working for you when it comes to getting up and moving and it helps your mental health? Let's talk about that. We're going to take it anywhere you want. Let's go. If you're in a position to talk, clip it up for me and let me know. What are you doing to move for your mental health? Let's go. Come on, John Boy.
Yeah, so I'm walking about every day or some type of physical activity. I'm on a 30-day challenge. I just wanted to see if I could do it for 30 days consistently, even on a Sunday. So I'm working and walking, and that's when I'm starting to find out I'm anchoring into my inner thought time and my connection time, meditation time. So, and it has put a song back in my spirit. So I've been singing more often because my spirit is being released and my mental stability is being secure and anchored. So, you know what, Coach? I got back on the stage for the first time since I left New Birth. So, I surprised a lot of people with the male praise team for our church. We debuted it on Mother's Day and we sang today. So,
I love it, John. John, that's funny to me because when I think about people who sing, and you mentioned this phrase, God put a song back in your heart. You know, for people who kind of grew up singing, maybe that was in church, maybe they just loved it. They just really, really enjoy singing and they're really good at it. They're not bad at it at all, right? When you hear them, oftentimes people like me say, well, why aren't you still doing that? Like, why that clearly is a gift of yours. John, can you talk a little bit about how that's making you feel that God has actually put a song, like giving you a reason to sing? I think that's probably where I'm going.
Yeah, I'm glad that you went down that lane because now I know if I don't have a song in my heart, if I'm not singing, I'm probably leading, or I am in a place of early depression, or I'm out of sync. It's truly a trigger, and I haven't sung in years. Not because I didn't want to, not because I didn't like music. I was in a place that I couldn't receive the melody. I couldn't hear it. And so for me, I know that I'm back and I'm back to being my authentic self and in a healthy place because I hear songs all day now. I hear them all day. I hear them normally, but I display them vocally now at any given time because I hear it. It's free. And so for me to go back on the pulpit and the stage to minister again in front of people, and that's why everybody was saying, oh my God, you look so happy. We remember when you, and it came back. And so I know that my spirit is being lifted and my mental state is healthier.
I love that, John. No, I love that, guys. We're going around the room. Rocky is up next, talking 360-degree mental health is what we're talking about all week long. Today, we're drilling down on the subject around moving for your mental health. Come on, Rocky.
For me, the big portion of moving for my mental health has been the gym or slash dancing. So the gym for me, if you know, when I was in the military, running, and I hate running, you guys, but something about running, it increases.
Yeah. Hey, Rock. That your sound like you're surfing. Actually, I thought about something. Like I can hear waves going around. Maybe it's the Bluetooth. I don't know. Can you
I'm not on
adjust that? No. Yeah, it's like I can hear you going from one ear to the other, and I'm on normal, my settings. So that's really weird. Maybe I think you went to low something yesterday. I don't know if you got time to switch. I want to hear that story, Rock. Because look, when I saw Rocky dance for the first time, I was like, let me find out. Rock can dance, like for show. And I always marvel.
Okay, is that better?
That is much better. Come on.
It's these woods, man. Y'all gotta get me up out of here. Y'all gotta get me up out of here. All right. So no, I was saying dancing for me and lifting. So little known facts, of course, is the dancing part. And I used to be a figure competitor. So I lifted like crazy. It was my thing. And I was saying, I remember in the military and I don't know the words, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, whatever it is, something about running and tiring yourself out to exhaustion. It just makes you so happy after you've completed it. And for me, I don't necessarily go when I'm down and I'm not feeling well. However, when I do go afterwards, it's like you don't think about anything while you're in the gym. You feel amazing afterwards. The dancing part and music to me is something that's freeing to me because as a dancer, and I started out very, very young as a praise dancer. So I did praise dancing for years. And then I got into the hip hop and everything else. Something about dancing, it just releases your mind from anything else and nothing else matters. So those two things have been my stress relief. And I do want to add one more thing. It's not necessarily moving, but mostly the mindset piece with music. When I get up in the morning and I do my prayer and meditation, I have a playlist and there are a lot of affirmation music songs like the Tony Jones I played for you. But it's affirmations talking about yourself and helping to boost your confidence. So I built my little playlist and oftentimes I just sit and I meditate to that playlist because it's subconsciously playing in my head and it's moving my brain cells and my awareness of myself and who I truly am. And that helps me as well.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's moving my brain cells. No, I never thought of it that way. So even if I'm not physically dancing, the music has me moving. No, I absolutely love it. I'm going to the chat really quickly just because we're going to get away from this. But I asked the question, what's your go-to song or music genre or maybe artist? Tammy said anything go-go music. Come on. Now that's coming from a Baltimorean, I might add. Yeah, I mean, like, I thought she might say house music, something. No, she went straight to DC. Go music. I love it. Look, Mr. Fun, speaking of Baltimore, DJ K Swift and DJ Booby. Listen, when I used to work at 92Q, let me just say this. I miss them guys. God rest K Swift's soul. She had a tragic accident and claimed her life years ago. One of the fire. I mean, when you talk now, you know, a female DJ was just always odd when we was coming up. And so to see one was an anomaly, but to see one killing it, I mean, killing it, putting every dude to shame that would want to get in the ring with her. K Swift was that chick. Absolutely, bro. You took me back. Bruno Mars, I love it. Cherie is a Bruno Mars. She told me, y'all, if Bruno Mars comes to Panama, we're going. No questions asked. I don't care where he is, and I really don't care how much it costs. We're going. I said, yes, ma'am. We will do that. And then Dr. Pam, this one right here. Dr. Pam. If this one don't get you up.
You know I love music. And
If
every
this
time
one
I hear
don't get
something
your
high,
mind
it
rolling,
makes me want to move.
what?
It makes me want to have fun.
Come on, y'all.
But it's something about this joint right
I need
here.
everybody up
This
for a
joint right
second,
here,
even if you're sitting in your
it makes
seat
me
right
wanna.
now. Hey,
Let it go.
come
Can't
on.
let this thing called love get away from you.
Grand Rising, everybody. Great morning. It's 7:27, 27 minutes after the 7 o'clock hour. Welcome to the morning show. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This is Real Lessons in Life and Business, hanging out with my motley crew, my mod squad. I love these guys when they come. Believe it or not, y'all are a reason that gets me going. Like just seeing y'all's faces, man, every morning, it does something for my mental health. Hey, let's go. How many of y'all fans of Mary? Come on, let's get it. I remember one time I saw this, and it was a news crew somewhere in the U.S. and a white guy. They dropped this beat, and this white guy, he jumped up and he went in. And I'm like, yo, let me find out. I'm mad. I'm mad that I can't dance because I want to do what he's doing. Oh, I absolutely love it. If you're on the stage and you got a favorite thing that you do that keeps you moving when it comes to your mental health, you're very clearly aware of it. For me, it's swimming. I'm still trying to figure out how I can get music inside my ears in the pool. They got a couple of different devices out there. I've tried a couple, and they don't work as advertised. Let me just say that. And so I love it when the lifeguards turn any kind of music on, because when you're swimming and you're hearing that music, it takes your mind off of the swim, and it's a place you can get lost. And for me, it's lost without pain. So unlike any other workout regimen, and by the way, Rocky, I got in the gym yesterday and I did a chest and back workout just to kind of reintroduce myself, feeling a little sore this morning. But swimming is absolutely painless for me. And it's just a place where my mind just goes to another place. If you're in the audience and you got a thing that you do, that you, when it comes to moving, let's go. Sakina say good morning to all. Grand Rising, Sakina, good to have you. Yes, love Auntie. I'm mad to be thinking of Mary J. Blige's Auntie. I am mad about that. Cherie, she is the queen. No, she really is like an auntie, like for real. Like, Sakina, you got me all messed up. You understand?
Sakina is young enough to call her auntie. That's
no, I get that. But look, I remember when I was working at Radio 1 when Mary hit the scene. You know what I mean? So like for me, like that just.
Well, to you, she's considered that's sis. What's up, sis? That's sis. It ain't auntie.
Look, apparently that's what they call us. So she got a whole group of people out there calling her auntie. I love it. Pay homage.
The strength of the woman tour, which I just thought was just going to be last year, has actually continued. Now it's a whole 3-day jam. My boy Charles Jenkins did the Sunday spirit worship service. So she has a Friday workshop, Saturday concert. They're singing every day, Saturday concert, but on Sunday she has the worship part of the concert. So then she brings all her gospel friends. So Donnie McClurkin and Charles Jenkins went on. Yeah, so yeah, she running a whole little strength of the woman tour over there. I love it.
I love it, man. That's what happens when you get it for them. Yes, ma'am.
I PTR'd this picture was me in Korea. This was when I was lifting, dancing, doing all the things. It was my best Rocky. And I want to tell you that it's not just the lifting and stuff. It's the when you look good, feel good thing. It's a true statement. I think it's a true statement. And that right there is my picture goal of, hey, get back here. I might not get there exactly. But however, this was my best life. And that's what I'm trying to get to again. So have that motivational move picture or mental picture or whatever, whenever you're the happiness, and just keep it in front of your face 24/7. So that's why I just kind of uploaded it real quick.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Rock. I see you, Rocky. Listen, talking about that's my best Rocky. I like how she talked about it in the third person. Like, I don't even know her, but that was the best. I absolutely love it. Guys, come on, y'all help me out. Let's talk physically when it comes to moving. The dancer herself. Come on, Christine.
So, of course, it is dancing for me, but I have the great opportunity to walk into my own studio when I feel like it. And so that is my place of release. For me, my mental health, I have to be able to release things out of my life. I don't hold on to them, and I release that through movement. Sometimes I will put on worship music and I will just worship through my movements. And then other times it'll be something upbeat depending on where my headspace is. But the bottom line is it's always a place of I love R&B music, but I don't play R&B music when I'm moving because movement for me is it's spiritual. And my it's connected to my soul, if that makes sense. And so I have to have something that motivates and exalts and moves my spirit. And I didn't know we're not super deep. We were talking about auntie or sis.
No, it's all good.
but that's kind of what helps me because I take on a lot and I do a lot. I have to have a moment of release. And when I'm doing my me time, I talked about this last night in the mompreneur experience. I do my me time. I have a moment of releasing all that happened that day, especially the negative parts. And so that's what I do. I move to release those things that don't do me any good so that I can move freely and everything else that I need to do. So for me, it's the worship music that takes me to a different place.
You know, it's funny. I just drew a correlation when you said that, Christine. Anybody who's ever gotten a massage, you've never gotten a massage to upbeat music. That's never happened, right? There's something about the movement of those muscles and the deep tissue and the movement, and they put on the music that's just really background. It's worship like, and so I can get that reference. I absolutely get that. For me, those two dots just connected. Come on, Sheree.
So for me, a little different. So when it comes to movement, like I like to walk, I like to go out in nature, and my playlist is upbeat praise music. I'm talking Ty Tribbett. I'm talking that's gonna get me moving, but that's gonna motivate me, but it's uplifting me at the same time. And so I need that upbeat. It's like I can wind up look up. I've been walking for an hour and don't even realize it because the music is just moving me, but it's also feeding me at the same time. Now, if I'm in the gym, it's a little different. I may listen to like some Bruno Mars because I just need something to just keep pounding to keep me going after that for that. But when I'm walking, especially if I'm doing it for, just to get away to
You need something to keep
unplug,
you what, Sheree? You need some what?
to keep me going. That's just going to plug away.
No, that wasn't the word.
Keep
you
me
used,
pounding. Yeah. I don't know what.
Help me. I'm just saying.
Everybody understood what I meant. You on the page.
Look, I just thought that was
it's okay.
You know.
So upbeat.
We understood you.
Praise. Thank you. Upbeat praise music.
Coach's head was somewhere else, y'all.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm with you, Coach. I got you.
Hey, look.
What did I
was
say?
Saying, hey, look. I was gonna say pause, but no, don't.
What
pause.
did I say? What did I say?
We're not even gonna go back. It was just
pound.
What you said for me.
Oh, pound. Okay. To keep me pound on the treadmill. You okay?
Now, last week on Friday,
here we go.
When he was trying to edit some video. Anyway,
right. Now he catching stuff that I don't need me.
Listen, my equilibrium be off sometimes. Sakina in there cracking up. I'm not talking to you.
Help your boy, John. Help your boy.
We
Coach,
just gonna look.
You be
Help
running,
me.
Coach. You be running into that emotional vertigo.
Help me. Listen, hey Kina, I'm gonna start calling you Kina. This is Unc and Auntie talk over here. You hear me? Listen, she cracking up. She said it's too early for that for me, y'all. I love Ashley Love is in the building. I need everybody to chime in and let me know. They have really finding this really funny today.
I like what Sheree said. Can I add to really quick?
Please.
I want to highlight that because when you're enjoying what you're doing and movement, it makes it really easy. So nobody wants to go to the gym when it's forced. I tried something different, Sheree. I went to the gym and I said, you know what? Instead of the upbeat music, let me play my affirmation music. And I did it and it was relaxing, but I was also working out really hard. So I think it's really important, like she said, to find music that's going to keep you pounding.
Oh, Jesus. Help me. I just need to listen. That's And I need to come back. I need to come back. Hey, Jennifer, I'll be like, the pounding nation. Won't he do it? Jesus. Come on.
Ain't nobody stopping my shine.
Listen.
They try to break me.
The question is, what is your song? What is the thing that you're doing? What is your activity? What keeps you moving? Is it stepping? Is it working out? Is it in the gym? Is it dance? Is it a song in your heart? The reason why I'm talking about this, y'all, because we're talking everything mental health, and I don't think that many of us actually equated, movement with being able to get a hold of our mental health. For those of you guys that suffer and really a challenge with mental health disorders, and whether it's anxiety and depression or if it's bipolar, you name it, I have found for people that I get to support that there's a rhythm that when they get out of rhythm, things begin to fall apart. But when you get in rhythm, in sync with yourself, it begins to bring that all in. I keep going back to the show Queen Charlotte, and they tackle mental health issues in that show. Shonda Rhimes does an incredible job of, without naming the disorder, it really talks about how to deal with that. And the idea of it is, what does it take for you to get in sync? And I think that unfortunately what most of us don't do is we don't look at the physical aspect of that enough. We just kind of think it makes me feel good. Well, there's a scientific reason why it does that. So yeah, let's keep this going. I absolutely love it. For those of you guys that are just pulling up, it's 7:38, 38 minutes after 7 o'clock here on the East Coast in the U.S. I'm Glenn P. Brooks Jr. This is the morning show, Real Lessons in Life and Business. All week long, we're talking mental health 360. Tomorrow, we're going to unpack some things around creating a support system. Some of you are going through some really, really horrendous things in life. And I don't think that there's anything worse than going through something that, especially something you didn't choose, and you have to go through by yourself. Like, I just think that is the worst. And we're going to unpack some things and talk about what does that look like to really build a system around you, of people, a team, if you will, that can support you through it. And then on Thursday, we're going to pick up and talk about prioritizing you. What does it look like to put you first? And get past that. We kind of tapped into that a little bit yesterday, but we're really going to go deep on Thursday. Of course, Rocky will be pulling up for Tech Thursday on Thursday, so make sure if she doesn't get snatched off her square, in these dog days of summer, they trying to get y'all going, Rocky. So hopefully you'll be free to do Tech Thursday.
I'm good. I'll be at the late school, so I'm good.
Oh yeah, we're excited. We may even get a television appearance. Or if that, I'm just saying, just putting it out there. So for those of you guys who have not tuned in to see us on KBC and TV, believe it or not, you can see this madness face to face. There's an actual way you can, whether that's YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. We're streaming live through KBC and TV. And so if you're chiming in on TV, put something in the chat. If you're seeing us, let us know that you're there. William, good to see you on YouTube. Y'all be watching passively. I don't know you there. You know what I mean, Sheree? Like, we be out in public. I've been out in public. It's getting to the place now, Rocky, where people see me in public and be like, I know you. I saw you on YouTube, Jen. I'm like, huh? Because it's weird. It's real weird.
Now you get where I'm coming from, Coach? When I was at the banquet and people coming and hugging you and you're like, ah.
And yeah, you got it worse than I do, Rock, but that is weird. So yeah, you got to watch what you're doing out there in them streets. It's folk watching. So I know y'all are here, but you don't say nothing. But I'm inviting you, please say something so that I can absolutely greet you more personally. Wayfire said that good morning. Thanks for yesterday. You was on fire. You really opened my eyes. You're welcome. You're so welcome. Tessie says, I'm in the gym regularly here now, but I've never incorporated music, only books and sermons. I'll give music a try. You know what's funny, Tessie? I can't listen to anything deep while I'm trying to work out. Like, when I say deep, I tried the podcast thing. Like, listening to a podcast while I'm working out, for me, it detracts from my concentration to do the workout. Is anybody else find that the case? Talk to me. Anybody else, or is that just me?
Nah, I think for me too, it's the same thing because, well, it depends on how intense it is. Now, and how interested I am in it, but because I'm a note taker, it doesn't really work for me because now I want to stop, take notes,
Listen,
and do all the things.
I be trying to
So, I'm
clip
with
up
you.
the volume on. Let me
Yeah.
screenshot that. Let me screen record that. Like, what did he just say? Rocky Rocky saying yes.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like I'll lose focus. I'll stop my machine, do exactly what Jen said, take notes, annotate it. And then not only that, sometimes you zone out. Like I zone out when people are talking a lot. So me listening to that, I'll be like, okay, what just happened? And I'll miss it. Then I'll listen to it again later anyway.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Janelle Thompson said, yes, I can only listen to music when I work out. Listen. And it's got to be, it's got to be something that's going to just absolutely get me going.
1, 2, 3, get up, we got victory. No weapon they throw at me.
I remember the first time I met Kirk Franklin. I was a station manager at a gospel station in D.C., and that's when him and the family were together all the way back then. I remember when he made that transition from gospel to mainstream because he was doing interviews on both stations. He sat in my office, and I got a chance to kind of peer into his mind for a second. And I remember him talking about how these beats and these different things that he's doing, infusing just stuff that makes you move. He didn't talk about it in the context of mental health, but I can see now, like for me, bro, like just to get one of these tracks, sometimes you even got to be singing. This thing is this is crazy. It's that bass line. Come on, Ruby. Ruby said 90s hip hop or reggae is my favorite music to work out. Good morning, Anisha. Good morning, Leslie. I see you. I'm going to do a roll call right here real quick, John. Let's go. Grand Rising, everybody. 743. Renee is in the pole position this morning. Good to see you, Renee. Shout out to my MMC fam. Guys, y'all make sure y'all tune in. Coming up this Wednesday, I was texting back and forth, but Crystal Hardy Allen will be in the MMC community come Wednesday for our lunch and learn. She has been on a terror. If you're following her on IG, you know she is picking up client after client after client. I don't know what new information she has to share with us, but I promise you it's going to be good. So if you're in the MMC Business Builder Academy, tune in because we're going to get some fire information, I'm sure. Mama Pat is in the building. Great to see you, Mom. Again, so good having the opportunity to pull up this past Mother's Day weekend. We had such a good time. Uncle Ernie is in the building. Let's go. I see you, Mr. Fun, over there cutting up in the chat. I see you, sir. Grand Rising, my friend. Dr. James, the mad scientist Green, is in the building. Owner of KBC and TV. Always a pleasure. Can't do what we do without you, sir. At least not the way we do it. Let's go. Hey. Dr. Pam Fawcett is in the building this morning. Grand Rising, Dr. Pam. Hey, Jill Hines. Good to see you. Hope all is well. I love it. The Pink Guardian. Listen, if y'all haven't tuned into Jill on IG, then you missed it. She always got something going on, particularly if you're into gardening and you want to know more. She is your guru, I promise. Nona representing the nation's capitals in the building. Grand Rising, Nona. Good to see you, Coco. We miss you. Hope all is well. How's your daughter? Happy belated Mother's Day. It's great and all the things that were behind you. Coach Ruby is in the building. Coach Ruby, I just thought that was the most endearing picture of you and your mom the other day. I saw you post something. It's always good to see folks loving on their folks. Maria Lil John Schultz is in the building. Grand Rising Mama Schultz is in the building. Always having Team Schultz in the building is a blast. Sakina, good to see you over here cutting up in the chats talking about I'm 40 though. Look, like let's get this straight now. I might come off like that. Be careful. I love it. Alicia's in the building. Grand Rising, Alicia. Good to see you. Dr. Nicole is here. I saw your invitation to come back to a really, really influential podcast, Dr. Nicole. Appreciate you so much. Always a pleasure when you pull up. Look, I love supporting y'all. If y'all have not figured this out, there's something that is exciting for me. For the opportunity to support other people. It's just, I don't know, it gives me purpose.
One time.
Tessie, speaking of support, support. I can't wait to jump on an interview that I'm going to be doing with Tessie as a promo option to talk about her contribution for bootstrapping your way. I'm sorry, Bootstrapping Redefined. Thinking about last year's conference. Bootstrapping Redefined. Come on through October 13th and 14th. Tessie is going to be there. She's one of the workshop facilitators, and it's going to be a blast, you guys. Terry is in the building. Grand Rising, always good to see you, Terry. Janella's in the building. Shout out to the GMKC community. Tammy is in the building. Stephanie is in the building. Grand Rising. Ashley is here all the way from the UK. Lakita, been a minute, seemed like a month of Sunday since I put my hands around your pregnant neck. It has been. Like, we got to do something. We got to do a double date really soon. Tell Dominic, we got to figure that out, Lakita. I don't know what that looks like, but we got to get our time in. Stephanie, it's good to see you. Sharon Brooks is in the building, my namesake. Hey. Well, Faya's in the building. Grand Rising, my friend. Marcus is in the building. Team Tate. At least one half of Team Tate. Good to see you, bro. Hey. Sean is in the building. Grand Rising. Sean, good to have you this morning. Leslie and Anisha. Jackie is in the building. Shout out to my MMC fam. Let's go. The Queen Sisters, or at least one of them, is representing today. Valencia is in the building. Let's go. Sometimes you need to play a song that will move your bones. Sean, Grand Rising, welcome to the room. Abby, appreciate you guys for pulling up. It's 7:48. This is the morning show. Let's go. So, guys, let's keep this subject going. We're going to switch gears to Teach Me Tuesday here in a second. If you have not shared the room, you're going to need to do that. My wife, Coach Cherie, is up today, and she's pinch hitting for Monty, who has the flu. But I believe we're going to get something good, real good. And so y'all make sure y'all tune in. We're going to be talking about some things around this mental health subject that we've been dealing with all week. Mental Health 360. Today, we're talking about moving for mental health. What does that mean to you? What are you doing? And how is it helping and assisting your mental health? Clip it up if you got something you want to share. Come on and talk to me. Anybody in the room, let's get it. Come on, Barbara. I saw that. I don't know if it was an accident, but I saw it.
No, that was me. No, mine is walking. I love music, all genres of music. And so my playlists vary. And so when I'm walking, it's just a peaceful serenity. There's a park not far from my house that's so serene and so peaceful in the mornings that time of meditation and walking and getting the exercise in, whether it's slow or fast, the pace, it's just a clearance of my mind and my thoughts. So it helps to start my day and get me moving.
Well done, Barbara. Listen, I love it. I love it. There's something about that clarity, though, y'all. Let's talk about that. The clarity that movement gives you. Has anybody been able to, or let me say it this way, you find yourself not being able to create if you aren't clear, and you need to do something to go get clarity. What is the thing that you do to get clarity? And I know we're talking about movement for your physical health, but I would be willing to deduct, I'll be willing to bet that the things that you do for mental clarity has everything to do with movement. For some of you guys in the room, come on, talk to me. What are some things that you're doing to gain mental clarity? Come on, let's talk. Who clipping it up? I thought I saw somebody. I'm not. Hold on.
Okay, so
Yep, go ahead.
so
Yep.
first you're going into my lesson. I'm gonna talk about today.
Oh,
but
snap.
I'm gonna keep this short. So one thing that I do other than it's just being out in nature. For me, that's something that if I can get outside in the sun, just sitting in nature, just being outside helps me to gain clarity. Being in the office, being in the house, you can start to feel stifled, and it can stifle my creativity. So when I get out in nature, that helps to give me clarity. It also helps me to connect with God and help me to center myself. And so that's something that I do personally to gain clarity and to center myself.
I love that, Cherie. I love it. Come on, Rocky, and then Christine. We're talking, what do you do to gain mental clarity? What are some things you do? Come on.
I'll pass it to Christine first. She was blinking a lot harder than me.
Ooh, it was the force.
I didn't know we could blink harder, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this, Christine.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
more
Okay.
And
special.
whereas mine was like,
Oh, snap.
Thanks for that. Thanks for the clubhouse visual. So for me, I know this is going to sound strange, but I clean. I'm moving. I know I got eyes as soon as I said it, but I actually
I
clean.
love it.
I put music on, whether it's in my ear or it's in the house, but I clean. And so when we were growing up, when my kids were growing up, my Sean would want them to help me clean, and I would tell them no. Now, of course, they're cleaning their own rooms, but for me, it's such a peacefulness for me to clean. I declutter. I get rid of things usually when he's not home, but I remove things out of the house, or I'll clean my office at the studio. It helps me to get clarity when I can see open space, when I can
You are my sister.
yeah, so for me it's cleaning, but
It's
I'm
your
also
spirit
I'm
animal.
I'm also moving. I'll put on some sweats or what have you, big t-shirt, and I'm moving, I'm sweating, but I am cleaning and clearing out my physical space, which helps me to clear out my mental space. So for me, it's that cleaning part that gives me clarity, that allows me to see the physical, of course, but also allows me to see a little deeper inside of myself because I can breathe. That's what I
I
do.
just got an insight to my wife that I have not had in the 24 years we've been married, Christine. You just helped. I used to think it was because my wife was OCD or something. Like like she couldn't have something out of place. Because when Cherie cleans, she cleans with purpose. It's like, get out of my way. And it's this whirlwind of a and it's meticulous. It's like, and then it lives, like it keeps going. So she may start in one room for one reason, and then before you know it, she flipping couches. I'm like, bro, I'm trying to watch the game. What's happening? It's like, now don't mind me. No, I can't not mind you. You are literally disrupting my whole world over here. And then she'll start asking questions. Well, what you gonna do with this? Babe, I'm not a part of that process. Your cleaning is giving you mental clarity, but it's causing me to need to go leave this house and go for a swim.
But it's really freeing, coach. It's for me, it's just freeing to be able to clean something and see it being accomplished. But I'll put everybody out the house and they'll come back and the house is spotless.
Listen,
And I can do it without, a blink of an eye, it's done. But it's just a moment for me to breathe and I just, yeah, it's a whole moment for me. I think I might do that today.
you know what? Speaking of do that today, Sean, you just messed me up. So how about I have not been in the float tank in probably, easy a good 6 months. I'm going today. I don't know how I'm going to squeeze that in my schedule. I'm going to go to this, let me put it that way, because my schedule is crazy today. Has anybody ever tried float therapy? Put me in the chat. If you've never tried float therapy, or if you've ever tried it, I'm sorry, put me in the chat. If you've never tried it, put not me in the chat. Put not or thumbs down. Y'all, float therapy is a problem. It's not as aggressive as cleaning. I promise you. You ain't gonna sweat. No, you're not gonna do that. No. But I promise you, you want to talk about an activity that will cause you to just lose a sense of time, lose a sense of weight. Like I've never been in a no gravity place, but I would imagine it's like that because literally the amount of high end hospital grade magnesium that they're putting in these pools has you floating like you're in the Dead Sea. Like, and then by the time they close the pod and you can have music or you can have a little light or nothing at all. I go for nothing at all. Cut the light out. And I feel like I'm floating in space. You can't feel nothing. You can't feel your arms, your legs, nothing. You feel like you're just out there. It is absolutely, Google it, find a float therapy facility in your area. And it's a game changer for sure. Terrifying. What do you mean, Rocky? It's not terrifying.
listen, I'm speaking for the overthinkers and those with anxiety. Don't do it.
That's why I didn't like it, Rocky.
I am an overthinker. If I'm quiet, and it's so funny because I've heard someone else say, Coach, that that's the closest thing to heaven, because they say when we leave this earth, we're just consciousness. We don't feel our bodies. From near death experience, YouTube, a lot of people say that. But it would freak me out. If I can't feel, it's the same thing as me not liking swimming. If I can't feel the bottom of the ground, I'm freaking out. And then I start hearing stuff, like if somebody's saying something, like it's just a lot. But I wanted to add to the conversation whenever you're ready.
Please. No, I'm ready. No, I want to add to what you just said. But go ahead, Rocky. We got about 3 minutes before we go to Teach Me Tuesday. Come on.
Yeah, so two things. Surprisingly, I love cooking. I haven't done it regularly as I would like, but there were some days when I was in my house that I would cook and I wouldn't even eat it. I just like the joy of cooking. Something about that de-stresses me. I think it's the fact that you are creating, and what comes out on the other end is the progress. So it's like my sense of accomplishment through cooking, and I just listen to my music while cooking, and then I cook, and it's just the best thing ever. And the other part of that, I'll add to what Cherie and many others have said with the walking. What I love about walking is that's my time to have spiritual connection with God, to look at everything and realize that everyone literally is connected. We are people. And then walking with love, like, it's going to sound crazy, but I invite you to do that today. I love the trees. I love the birds. I love the flowers. I love this person that's walking beside me that didn't say good morning. Like, just walking in love and saying love all the time, or picking out a color like red. Like, every time I see red, I'm going to think of love. All of that is freeing and relaxing once you start to do it. So those are the two things that I love. Love.
Listen. When she said this, y'all, this song came to my mind. I'm sorry, we got about 2 minutes before we go to Teach Me Tuesday. Rock. Listen.
I love God.
You don't love God? What's wrong with you?
I love God.
You don't love God?
What's wrong with you?
As soon as I heard that piano, Coach, I knew what it was.
Listen. Hey. Grand Rising, everybody. It's 7:59. I ain't gonna give y'all the whole song, but yeah, I absolutely love it, Rocky. I think it was Renee that put in, nature, fresh air, and bird choirs. I had never heard of it put that way, but yeah, bird choirs. I can't wait for you to come visit us and bring the boys to Panama, Renee, because when you want to talk about birds, it is probably one of the foremost places on the planet to go bird watching. And the toucan, there's so many birds that are germane and native to that area of the world. Unbelievable colors and sounds and sights and the whole thing. So yeah, we're talking all things mental health this week, guys. Mental Health 360. And I'm just really excited about the opportunity. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's no secret, in the last 24 years, being married to my wife, I've been introduced to what it looks like to have to, or be in close proximity, not have to, but be in close proximity to someone who struggles with a mental health disorder or mental health issue. And for me, I didn't grow up knowing what that looked like at all. And having been married to Cherie, it has piqued my level of self-awareness, and it's caused me to dial in and really figure out what does it look like for me to support. Part of that is making room. Part of that is making space. And so I'm super grateful today that she decided to make space and come through and share for us on this edition of Teach Me Tuesday. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get ready to switch over. We're going to go ahead and get these recordings set up and do what needs to be done. Y'all stay tuned. And if you've never heard my wife speak, stick around. She's a teacher. Grab your notes, and I promise you, it's going to be a blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my wife, Coach Cherie A. Brooks Jr. She took my whole name for today's edition of Teach Me Tuesday. Let's get it.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So today we've been talking about Mental Health 360 this week, and I'm going to continue along that vein today and just share some general information with you guys. We've been talking about, the need for you to be able to find ways to release that stress, things that you can do to help yourself when you are feeling overwhelmed. But one thing I just kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Oftentimes, individuals that deal with mental health, it goes misdiagnosed. Oftentimes, we don't recognize the signs of mental health issues as an individual, and particularly as family members, those around us. So today, I really want to talk about some of the key signs to look for that will help you to identify that maybe something's wrong. Now, one thing that I want to clarify real quick, number one, I'm not a mental health professional. I have had my own personal experience with mental health most of my adult life. I do have a degree in psychology, but I'm not a mental health professional. And so this is general information, just some signs, some things that I've learned over the years, things that through my years of being a patient in therapy, I've learned that are signs that for individuals to look for. Also, I want to caution people, just because you see one or two of these signs, don't go diagnosing a person or telling them that it's something wrong. There are things to look out for that may be indicators that this person may need help. And there's some that are clear indicators that I will definitely specify that if you see those particular ones, that you do want to get that person some assistance, get them some help, sit down and talk to them and try to figure out what is going on. So number one, sign or symptom that a person may be struggling with something. And when I say mental health disorder, this could be depression, anxiety. It doesn't have to be something as major as bipolar or anything like that, but these are basic mental health disorders that a person could be dealing with. So number one is changes in mood or behavior. So if you notice that a person's mood shifts often, if you notice they're going through a period of prolonged sadness, if they're irritable more than usual, if they're having anger outbursts, and that's not normally who they are. Basically, if they're acting out of character, that may be something you want to pay attention to and see if that is just a momentary thing, or if this seems like they're stuck in this place where their mood and their behavior is just off. They're just not acting. They're acting out of character. That could be a sign that you want to pay attention to. Number two is social withdrawal. If it's a person that's normally socially active, they're always going out, hanging out with people, and then they withdraw, they're not answering calls. They're not going out to the events that they normally go to. Even if they're not necessarily extrovert, they can be an introverted person. But if they usually, if you call them, they answer your calls, they return your calls, and you're noticing more and more frequently that they're not, there may be something going on. There may be a reason why they're not. And it at least, may mean for you to there may be a need for you to have a conversation with them to ask them, hey, is everything okay? Oftentimes, we're so busy going through life. Everybody's doing their own thing. We don't stop to really look at each other and determine whether or not there's something going on. We just like, oh, they must just be busy. If it's a pattern, if you've noticed repeatedly the person's not returning your call, there may be something wrong. And so take that time to slow down yourself to just ask the question. Like I said, this is not your diagnosing the person, but this is just your showing concern because you see something that's out of order. Number three is extreme emotional reactions. Now, this is a little bit more than them just being irritable. This is the person just having outbursts out of nowhere. So, and I'll give a practical example of this. So during one of my seasons when I was starting to experience anxiety and I was not really aware of it, I got into a heated debate with my supervisor at work, which was very out of character for me. And it wasn't that I don't address things, because I do confront issues. I don't have a problem with addressing issues, but I found myself, I was in tears having this conversation. For me, I knew that was something was off because I don't get that high emotional. I don't have that high emotional reactions typically. And that was a sign for me to, okay, something's off here because I'm taking this way. I'm feeling this way more than I normally would. So I was overly sensitive emotionally. And so if you notice that the person is having extreme emotional reactions to things, and that could be, them crying more than normal, them having crying spells, them being excessive worrying, having feelings of hopelessness, those are signs that there may be something else going on. So pay attention to those extreme emotional reactions as well. I don't know what number I'm on. I think number 5, changes in sleep patterns. So if this person is sleeping more than normal, or they're not sleeping, if you notice they now have developed insomnia for some reason, there may be a reason. Insomnia is often triggered by stress. Sometimes it is a medical condition, but oftentimes when a person is suffering from not being able to sleep or having trouble sleeping, it's usually associated with stress or anxiety. Their mind is racing for some reason. They're not able to calm their mind. And so therefore that keeps them from being able to fall asleep or from staying asleep. And so if you notice that that's become a pattern with the person, and this is something really to look for, especially in your children. If their sleep patterns get off, you may want to sit down and have a conversation and find out if something is going on. If there's been something they're worried about at school, they may be being bullied or something may have happened in school that, they're worried about. And it'll start off just as worry, but that can develop into something more. And so that's why us being able to pay close attention to people's patterns is imperative when it comes to helping somebody get help when they're experiencing any type of mental health issue. So if you notice any changes to their sleep pattern, sit down and have a conversation and ask them, is something bothering you? Is something worrying you? What did you watch last night? Was it something that triggered that? Just to open up the doors of those conversations. The next one is appetite and weight changes. If you notice that they have increased or decreased weight, if their weight is increasing or decreasing, they're eating more or they're eating less. That can also be a sign that they may be, particularly depression, will affect their diet, will affect whether they have an appetite or they don't have an appetite. And so just paying attention to those things, difficulty concentrating or making decisions. If you notice that this is a person that's normally always on it, they don't have a problem with focus at all, but now their focus is off. They're, kind of not able to stay, their concentration is off. They're not able to complete tasks that they normally would do. Sit down and have a conversation. Some of the other ones are loss of interest. We talked about some of the, them not, like I said, them not doing the thing, them losing the interest in doing the things that they normally like to do. So this would also go to them not being socially active, but also if they normally like to cook, they normally like to clean, they like to do things around the house, and now they're not doing those things. Those are things to pay attention to. One thing that people don't often associate with mental illness is physical symptoms. So typically when a person is experiencing mental illness, it can affect you physically. And so we harbor anxiety, stress in our body physically. So whenever you're holding on to any anxiety, any stress, it actually resides inside of your body in different organs in your body. And so if they start complaining about them having headaches, having stomach aches, and there's nothing associated with this is something often in children you'll see, particularly children will start complaining about having headaches all the time because they're stressed, because they're worrying about something. Children typically don't experience, there are some kids that experience migraines, but that's not normal. And so if your child is constantly complaining of stomach aches, of, them having headaches, it's time to sit down and have a conversation so you can try to get to the root of what's causing. Now, this is not an interrogation and you're not telling them there's something wrong with you, there's something else going on. But sit down and have a conversation and just try to find out if there is something that's triggering those things. Because if it's an unexplained, they repeatedly keep complaining of this and there's nothing physically going on that if they don't have a condition that would contribute to that, there may be something that's there's a stressor that may be causing them to experience that. Some things that we all know, substance abuse, typically when individuals get involved in any type of illicit drugs or over drinking, is because they're trying to self-medicate because of something, some type of stress, some trauma, something has happened in their lives. And so those are clear signs that you may want to address whether or not what's going on with them so that they can get some help. The thing that you definitely want to pay attention to is if an individual is having suicidal thoughts or behavior. We all know this, we've all heard this, but I want you to pay very close attention. Oftentimes individuals, when they're having suicidal thoughts, they're not going to come right out and tell you, I want to kill myself, I want to die. They'll make little innuendos about things. They may share with you about dreams that they're having. But signs like the withdrawal, things like that are signs that they could be getting to that point. And so if a person ever expresses anything about them wanting to harm themselves or harm anybody else, you want to immediately seek help. If you notice that they're self-harming themselves, they're cutting themselves or doing anything that is harming themselves, and that can also go to them depriving themselves of eating, you want to get them help immediately. These are just a few things that, as we're talking about mental health this week, I just wanted to share. I think that awareness is key when it comes to mental health. And oftentimes, because many of us have not experienced ourselves, or we have not experienced it directly, we're not aware of what to look for. I just wanted to provide this information so you have some things to look for, to be aware. And I just want to encourage everybody to educate yourself on mental illnesses. Not necessarily, like I said, for you to be able to diagnose, but awareness is key when it comes to breaking the stigmas associated with mental health. And I think that as we all learn more, we'll be able to help those that are suffering so they don't have to suffer in silence anymore. I'm Cherie Brooks, and it's been my pleasure to come before you today.
Let's get it. Let's go.
Radio, turn it up. For sound.
Great morning, Grand Rising. Great morning. Good to have everybody in the room today, y'all. Cherie, fire. Great job. I loved it. It was the, and for those of you guys who have been in and around people who suffer from any sort of mental disorder or mental health issue, I think the biggest struggle is wanting to help and not knowing how, right? You love people. You love this person. And you want to be there for them. And sometimes we're adding upset to injury. Sometimes we are making something up that ain't there, and the constant pressure. We need to educate ourselves on how do we show up. So I want to switch gears a little bit. We're talking about movement for your mental health. Cherie, if you can kind of stick around sort of in this capacity a little bit. If there are any questions that you guys have in the way, best ways to support a person who is struggling, I certainly want you to pose that question in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand, come on up and let's talk. Any takeaways, any suggestions, any thoughts? We'll go. Looks like Rocky is clipping more profusely than Christine right now, so I'm gonna go Rocky.
Christine won again, Coach. But I'll go.
All right,
I'll go first.
Y'all are silly. Come on, Rock.
So good. Thank you, Cherie, for letting people know the signs and the symptoms. There's a couple of good points that I'm glad about. Number one is you mentioning children. I didn't know anything was going on with my children until those exact symptoms: sleeping a lot, headaches. Migraines do kind of run in our family. However, they kept coming and coming until I asked and talked to them and figured out what was really going on. So noticing that in your children, and also realizing that they have their own stress, you guys. I know sometimes we think they're kids, all they do is go to school and come home. No, they have their own stresses that we need to pay attention to, and we need to focus on their mental health, especially after COVID-19. What I do want to ask Coach Cherie to talk about a little bit, if she could, is the responsibility of others when it comes to mental health and suicide prevention when something does happen like that. I experienced guilt for a very long time when a good friend of mine, I've had more than a few friends commit suicide, and I blamed myself because sometimes there are no signs whatsoever. And not a lot of people talk about it. Things that they've done with suicide is because they probably were thinking this for a very long time and they just do it. And that's not our burden to carry to a point. So I wanted to pass it to Coach Cherie, if that's okay, to see if she can kind of speak into that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Rocky, for bringing that up. And I think that that's something that people do struggle with when a loved one commits suicide. Should I have known? Was it something I could do? Most people, like you said, when they get to the point when they're on the verge of suicide, or they've been thinking about that, or it's been plaguing them, like I said, in most cases, a person is not going to come right out and tell you that. Most people that suffer with depression or that level of mental illness, they suffer in silence. They carry it themselves. If you do see signs, yes, you can help. But I think the thing you have to be aware of is that oftentimes when a person is struggling with any mental illness, and this is, like I said, I'm not a mental health professional, I'm speaking from my own personal experience and from things that I've learned over the years studying psychology, as well as, being a patient in psychology, is that when a person is in that dark of a place, it's very hard for them to express where they are. In most cases, they're not going to wave the white flag and say, hey, this is where I am, this is what I'm going through, because they've sunk so deep. And I think that as family members, as friends, we have to let ourselves off the hook. Oftentimes unless, like I said, there's a clear indication that they are planning. You see them planning it. You hear them talking about planning it. There is nothing you can do. But if you do see something, then it is our responsibility to, call to try to get them help. Now, unfortunately, the way that laws are in certain states, you could take a person to a hospital and tell them that the person is willing to commit suicide, has been talking about committing suicide. And if they say that they are not, they will not commit that person. They will not hold that person. It is, the laws are in place that, especially for an adult, that they have to self-admit themselves. And so it's very difficult sometimes to get individuals help, even though you may see signs. And so the key is to try to catch the signs earlier, to pay attention so that you see symptoms maybe early on. But then always you're not going to see that either. Like I said, it depends on what it is that they're dealing with. Keeping open lines of communication and just showing care and concern for an individual is the biggest thing that you can do for a person that may be dealing with any mental health issue. If I know that there are people around me that care, if I know that there are people that are concerned about me, it's going to be a little harder for me to sink to that place because I don't feel alone. The biggest challenge with individuals typically that commit suicide, there's a sense of hopelessness. There's a sense of loneliness. They feel alone. They can be in the room with 1,000 people and feel alone because they feel like they're not seen. And so just make sure that you see people. And I think somebody had mentioned earlier, just walking and saying hi to people when you walk past them. You never know what your hi can do for a person when you say hello to them, just passing them. They may be having a day that they just feel alone, and just a simple gesture of that can help a person to not go over that edge. So just continue to be kind to people, be caring, let them know that you see them is the best thing that you can do. And don't hold yourself hostage when someone does choose to do that. That's their decision that they've chosen. Like I said, and if you do see the signs, yes, step in and offer help that you can, but then also know that they have to be willing to accept that help. That's their choice. And so I hope that helps, Rocky.
That is so good, Sheree. Rock, I appreciate that question. And I posted in the chat, and thank you, Dr. Nicole, for sort of starting that wave. Just some information if you are struggling or you want to learn more about suicide prevention. Let's do this. Sheree, you said something that was huge, and I think that this is something we all can do. Whether we know or not, we can be kind. And I saw somebody said that, I don't know who it was in the chat, that said, I love saying random good mornings to people because I love the reaction that it gets. Y'all ever see these people that walk around with the t-shirt on that says free hugs? Like, that seems weird in some circles. But I think that, Sheree, the merit by which that brings is that you don't know. You don't know how much that meant to somebody that you saw them that day, that you spoke to them that day. When I was a school bus driver, I used to make it a point to say good morning to every last student that came on my bus by name. Good morning, Rocky. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Sheree. So even this roll call that I do wasn't made up for this show. I was doing that in 2012 when I was inviting kids on my school bus. So what it did is it would produce something in them. And it's like, you know what? They cared. They cared enough to acknowledge. When I follow y'all on social media, I don't just keep scrolling. I will stop. I will like it. I will comment. I will share. There are times in my day I block out time just to do that. So when I'm on social media, I'm on social media. I'm not just there aimlessly in that regard. There's a reason. And so that's why when y'all come to this room, I feel like I'm up to speed a little bit. Like, I literally see your stuff. And I think that people forget that when you do something in public, people see you. And the reason why is because generally people don't say they see you. And so you can live next door to people for 20 years and never speak to your neighbors. And why would they feel seen? Come on, Christine.
First of all, thank you, Sheree, for just being so transparent and opening up and giving us this information. The question I had is, oftentimes I do struggle with knowing what to say to people who are having challenges in their mental health. and I'm sure others do as well, dealing with a young adult who unfortunately has seen a lot of his friends and associates take their life because of their own mental health struggles and challenges. What are some things that we can say? And I know there's some wrong things to say. We've had Abraham Scully up before and some things that just you should not say. But what are some things that we can say that can help open the conversation, help them feel seen so that we can assist them in getting the help that they need?
It's really simple. Just letting them know, hey, I'm here. If you need to talk, I'm here. Know that I care about you. I see you. I think oftentimes we go into fix it mode when we want to talk to somebody, when we see that they're struggling. And it's not about fixing a person. You can't fix a person, whether it's mental health issues or even a physical illness. You can't fix them. They need the support to know that they're not going through whatever it is they're going through by themselves, and they need to know that they have a safe place, that if they need to talk, when they're ready to talk, that they have a place they can come to. So don't treat them any differently with kid gloves per se. You know what I'm saying? Don't coddle them per se. Just let them know that you're there and that you're available if they need to talk. You know, if you realize that somebody is going through something, just check up on them. And you're not checking, hey, so how you doing mentally today? No, just, hey, just calling to check on you. Ask them out. Ask them, try to get them out of the house. If you see that they're isolating themselves and they may not want to, but don't, just because they say no 10 times, they might say yes that 12th time, And I'm not saying you have to press them, but just let them know that you're there regardless. The biggest thing, especially with depression, it's about hopelessness. What they're struggling with is hopelessness. And like I said, that loneliness. You can be in the room with a ton of people. You can be in the room with your family and still feel isolated. And so they just need to know that they're seen. And so things not to say is that, that whole, oh, you're going to be all right. Everybody gets sad. Don't say those things. Like you said, Abraham Scully came on and he talked about that before. Those things are offensive. Don't tell me, oh, well, you just need to pray more. Don't tell them how to fix themselves. Just be there. I think it's the best answer that I can give you.
Sheree, I want to say thank you. Rocky, I see you. Guys, if there are anybody, I see Alicia Caldwell's in the building. If you're a mental health professional and that's what you do for a living, that is your thing. I'd love to get your voice in on some of this. From your perspective, having seen patients, maybe your mental health coach. I don't know what the title might be, but guys, be on the lookout if anybody in that category raises their hand, they're friends of the room, and have space to come up and share. I would really love to hear from you. Rocky, come on, talk to me.
Yes, I'm sure this is another subject. So if we can't answer it here, completely understand. Another thing that I feel like is not talked about enough with mental health is the frustrations of the caregiver caring for somebody with mental health. They don't understand. They want to be there, but they're there too much. But also they don't want to leave the person alone when they say give them the space, because there's that fear of something happening if they're alone. It can be a very frustrating place because you love the person, you care about the person, but you don't want to smother them, but you're scared, to leave them in a space where they're not supported either. And it can be a very frustrating thing, especially when it comes to different types of mental illnesses. There's anger, there's, them pushing you away, but also then turning around and complaining about you not being there for them. It's just a slew of things. And the actual caregiver in that process needs to be cared for as well, especially when you're living in the home with them.
That's good, Rocky.
So needed, yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing. And I didn't mention therapy, but of course, therapy is a key part of helping a person get help in that. But as a caregiver, even for a person who is struggling with mental health, you may need to go to a therapist to help you to not only be able to support them, but to support you as you're supporting them. It's no different than being a caregiver for an aging parent. You need someone to talk to as well. You need support in that. And so you may need to go to a therapist as you're supporting someone else, if for no other reason, just to get educated. One of the best things that Glenn did for me was when I had my last major bout of depression, he actually educated himself. He went and got a book and started learning about what it is that I had been suffering with. He had seen signs over the years, but he didn't know the magnitude of my illness. And he took the time to learn, to educate himself on what was it that I was dealing with. And through that, he's been open through the process, we have been able to talk openly about what I go through. And I've been able to openly, kind of give him some direction on how to help me. He knows signs there. We have little key words that he'll ask to check on me, but he had to educate himself and also get the support that he needed so that he wouldn't carry that guilt, so that he would not, feel like he's smothering me. And that helps, even going back to Christine's question in regard to, if someone has committed suicide, that guilt, you need to go get, you may need to get with a therapist or somebody to help you to be able to process that, so you aren't carrying that guilt, so that you don't blame yourself for what the actions of somebody else. And at the end of the day, even though that person is ill, they're suffering from an illness, and they made that choice because they couldn't take it anymore, whatever the reason was, they made that choice. And when a person does make that choice, people often say that suicide is a selfish act, and it is in some ways, because they're trying to relieve their pain and they're not concerned about anybody else. But by the time they get to that point, everyone else has disappeared in their mind at that point. And so you can't carry that burden. And so if you're, caring for someone who is suffering from mental illness, or you suspect is suffering from mental illness, go to a therapist yourself just to get educated. Also, if you know anyone that is struggling with having thoughts of suicide, please, you can text. The new text number is 988. You can also call the suicide hotline at 800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-TALK. Even if you're the person that suspects somebody is struggling with suicide, you can call that number, or you can text, and they can give you guidance on how to assist that person in that crisis.
So good. So good. Cherie, thank you. It's the trans. I'm just looking at the chat and all the, you guys are really pouring in and opening up. Got Alicia Caldwell on the stage, and she's a great friend of the room. Alicia, you're a medical professional, mental health professional, rather. Talk to us a little bit about your perspective, maybe adding to some things that Cherie said, but particularly from, a health professional's perspective. Come on, talk to us. Good to have you up.
Yes. Good morning. Greetings, everyone. Cherie, information was fire. Thank you so much for doing this today. The only thing I would add is that, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a mental health professional and a woman who has had her own mental health struggles. Mental health issues can arise at any time. Sometimes we think that if we haven't been diagnosed with a mental health condition, that means that we are mentally healthy. And that's not necessarily the case, because sometimes there are things that happen in our lives. Like for me, it was a medical crisis with my daughter a couple years ago, and my mental health was wrecked by that. And I dropped off the map on social media and other aspects of my life. And I'm a pretty mentally resilient woman, but we never know when a life transition is going to affect us on a mental health level. And I recommend that we all have access to resources. I pray that we do, so that we can get the help that we need, because I needed to resume therapy in order to get through that difficult season. And I made sure that my daughters tapped into therapy as well. So for me, it's knowing that being mentally healthy is just as important as being physically healthy, and they actually impact each other. As we're talking about physical movement, if our mental body, the mind, is not healthy, it affects us physically. When I was going through my mental health challenges, I wasn't eating as well as I should. I wasn't exercising. My sleep was thrown off. My mental health was affecting me physically. So I had to tap into things for both. So I just encourage everyone listening that being mentally healthy is one of the number one things that we can do to be healthy in all aspects of life. Because if our mind is struggling, our relationships struggle, our bodies struggle, our professional life struggles, it's something that we can do to enhance all aspects of life. This is great information. If you had any specific questions, please let me know. But I enjoyed being in the room today. Thank you.
Yeah, just hang out with us a little bit, Alicia. We're going to be here another 10 minutes or so. But yeah, guys, all week long, we're talking Mental Health 360. And obviously, in light of Mental Health Awareness Month, we decided to dedicate a week, and we did this last year. We're going to continue to do this as often as we have an opportunity. I don't think these kinds of conversations happen enough. I know that for many of us, we grew up in places and spaces and environments that we grew up in, and this was not spoken of at all. Not only was it stigmatized, but it just wasn't ever addressed. And so whenever you have a problem or an issue in a room and it goes unspoken to, people make up stuff. They fill in blanks. They assume. And I think that that is even more detrimental because now if I'm assumed to be, quote, crazy or he ain't right in the head, these are the kinds of things that they said when we were growing up. He's retarded, just don't mind him. He got his own thing happening. Like those are very dismissive and quite frankly, offensive statements to make concerning something as fragile as the human mind. And I honestly think that our minds are cracking in front of people and we cannot, or we have not have found words to say, I need help. And I think that a lot of the responsibility is on the community to say something when you see something or when you pick up on something. Well, in my case, just educating myself. It's funny because even when Sheree and I are on a road trip, I can tell when an anxiety attack is coming. I can tell. And I'm driving. I'm driving and I can feel her ramping up. There's something getting ready to go down. And so my acknowledging of that today was something I didn't do 15 years ago. I didn't know that to do. Those same things that she did then, she does now. I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know what that was. I dismissed that. My wife is being extra. If I have to be really, really honest, that's what I thought. And she and I've talked about this. This isn't new to her. But y'all, that's offensive. That's dismissive. And quite frankly, it's not kind. And I think that we have to figure out what that looks like for us. And Rocky brought up some great points, like everybody's situation is very, very different. But I want to challenge us as a community to accept the responsibility of figuring out what is my part. Like I can't be responsible for things that's not my responsibility. I get that. But in this, what is my part? And can I own that? Can I do my best to become the best version of myself in the part that I own? Does this resonate with y'all? The chat is silent right now. It has been for a second. Put me in the chat if this is resonating with you. And maybe you guys are just really, really thinking through this and just processing. I kind of feel like that's really what's going on. But anybody else got anything they want to share on this? And we're going to go ahead and switch gears and begin to close out the room here in a little bit. But the floor is open. I do not want to rush you guys if you have something that you want to share. Got it. I see the memes. Come on.
Oh, just really quick, I wanted to add as well, since COVID, there has been a lot of virtual appointments because, to be honest, the therapists are packed. So if you know someone that needs a therapist, but they're kind of like, I don't want to, go in, or I don't feel like going in, to dive into telehealth and virtual appointments, because they're almost, at least in Virginia, they doubled their impact with that as well.
Absolutely, Rocky. I absolutely am a fan. And it's funny, Alicia, and you may be able to speak to this from a professional standpoint. I remember talking to my brother-in-law, who is a therapist of more than 30 years. And I remember when we started out coaching people online in 2017. Okay. So this is 2 years before pandemic, right? And the crazy thing is that what was really wild about this, I didn't realize how much of a thing that would later become. And because of HIPAA and a whole bunch of different laws, they have relaxed and rewritten laws to make it easier because that was his biggest thing. Yeah, I'd love to do it the way you do it in terms of therapy. There are a bunch of laws that prohibit me from even thinking about going down that road. And the pandemic changed that. It changed that in a lot of ways. And these are changes that they've left in place, after quote, I mean, the pandemic is not over, but obviously we're not in the heat of it. But yeah, absolutely. I just want to really quickly go to YouTube, talk it up. Good to see you over there. Call people when you haven't talked to them in a while. Don't wait for them to call you. Don't talk about them to others if you haven't done your part to stay connected. Isolation is the getaway to depression. That's powerful. Ooh, that's powerful.
The gateway.
Isolation is, the gateway to depression. That's powerful, y'all. And I've been practicing this lately. If I think about you, I'm texting you. If I have a quick thought and I'm shooting you a deal, like however you communicate, like you may be a huge social media person, there are meetings I've set up this month with people I haven't talked to in years just because I reached out and said, yo, you just came across my mind. How you doing? What's going on, man? It's been a minute. Only to find out that this person has cancer. That's a real story. I'm not making that up. That's a real story. It's like, oh my God, I didn't know. Well, how would you have known, Glenn? You haven't been in touch with this person in 4 or 5 years. And so I think that that's important. Nona's on the stage. You got a quick question for Alicia, maybe, Nona?
Just a quick comment, because I raised my hand when you asked about if anybody suffered or had tips or anything. So I raised my hand at that point. So I just had a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
So for me, we were talking about movement. And so for me, one of the things that I do is I'm a tour guide. So I walk when I give tours, but also because that's my specialty, that's my area of interest and expertise, it just makes me feel good about myself. I also do bi-weekly therapy. I am a huge proponent of therapy. And I'm also just a huge proponent of, like Cherie was saying, that support network. And I think the support network should also, when you do, and this is kind of tricky because you really do have to have a solid relationship, but when you do have a solid relationship with someone, sometimes there's a benefit in pushing maybe a little bit harder. Because I had a best friend who I went through a period where I had a breakdown. And I had a best friend who was like, we're calling today. It's going to be both of us and we're calling today. But she could do that because this was like my girl, So sometimes but you have to make sure at that point that you have a really solid relationship. But sometimes there's a benefit in pushing maybe a little bit harder when you have the relationship to push a little bit harder. And you have to be super clear that you have the relationship to push a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because that's the caveat. You have to be super clear that you have the relationship to push a little bit harder. But if you do, sometimes pushing a little bit harder is helpful. But anybody can be kind. Anybody can say, hey, anybody can like your post on Facebook. You don't have to have a super relationship with someone to say hi to them in the morning or see their like. And even John, when he brought me up on stage, because like I said, I do suffer from anxiety and depression, and I had my hand raised, and I'm like, nobody sees my hand. So even John, just seeing my hand and bringing me up on stage changed my mood entirely. And John and I don't have a tight relationship, but he knew enough to see my hand and bring me up on stage, and anybody can do that. So
No, I love it, Nona. I absolutely love it. And guys, if I can, we're we'll have to shut down here in a second. I just think that and tomorrow we're going to kind of talk about creating a support system, right? And so I want you guys to bring your notes, bring the things that you've done, right, to create a support system around you. Some of you guys, and I see you and she said her husband a little like me in the sense that he's super supportive and will delve into, like, if you got people that are leaning into wanting to be connected, listen, in times of when they're good times, when obviously you're not in a crisis, pull them close. One of the things I love about Cherie will tell me, this is how you need to talk to me. These are the questions you need to ask. I need you to be present during these times. And it's in times of non-crisis that we have these conversations. So that when crises are happening, crisis could happen while I'm on a road trip, driving, not really paying attention to her, but I can pick up because she has educated me on how to lead her in this process. Y'all, this has been a great day. I just want to say thanks, Cherie. Great Teach Me Tuesday. I love it when you teach and have the space and room to just settle in and do your thing. Great job. Great job. If you got something amazing out of today's Teach Me Tuesday, put me in the chat. We're going to follow up tomorrow, guys, with what it looks like to create a support system. I'm going to have my guy, DeAndre Raleigh, super duper impactful brother in the Detroit area. He's a pastor. He's a chef. Man, he's doing a lot of the things. And we're going to have him come up, a public speaker. He's doing all the things. And so I think that tomorrow's We All Need Some Help Wednesday, the podcast is going to be super amazing. So make sure you guys tune in for that. On Thursday, we're going to talk about prioritizing you. There's some of you guys who make it a habit of putting you last, and you've justified it. And the reason why I can say that, because I was one of you. I would call myself the quintessential number 2. Don't look at me to lead. Don't look at me to go first. Don't look at me to create the thing. And so for those wives who have a problem with their husbands initiating something, that comes from a place. He doesn't see himself as an initiator. And the vice versa is true. So I'm telling you right now, we're going to help you guys think through that. What does that look like? And part of that is a work that you need to develop to get out of your own way. It's 8:44, 44 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's a Teach Me Tuesday, a Tell Me Something Good Tuesday. I just want to let you know, guys, today is your day. And here's what I promise you. Tomorrow is not promised. What would it look like to live the rest of the day today as the best version of yourself? What would that look like? What would it look like for you to really, really tap into those people who God placed around you to add value to them? What would it look like for you to push past your issues and really look at you? I said that on purpose, just like that. Sometimes we allow our own issues to cloud us from paying attention to us. I'm telling y'all, this is powerful. Nona, thanks for pulling up. Appreciate your ad. Alicia Caldwell, always a blessing to have you in the building. She's going to be doing, I believe it might be a We All Need Some Help Wednesday or a Teach Me Tuesday segment here in the next few weeks. So I'm excited to have her back. Mom is in the building. Good to see you, Mama Pat. Uncle Ernie is in the building. James, I see you, my friend, Dr. Pam, Coco. A pleasure to have you in the room today. I hope we were able to add some value. I see you, Mama Show. So excited that I'm going to get a chance to hug your neck next month. That's going to be a whole thing. Sakina, thanks for all the love in the comments. Appreciate you, sis. Tessie, always a pleasure when you pull up. Thanks for being here today. Hey, Tammy, it's good to see you again. Appreciate you for being in the building, sis. Stephanie, always a pleasure when you pull up. Thanks for coming through today. Ashley Love, my friend. That's my sister from another mister. Love you, girl. Lakita Epps is in the building. Take care of yourself, Lakita. You and that new baby of yours growing in your belly. Listen, carrying a precious package. He's a deliverer. Listen. Yes. Take care of your mental health. We ain't got no. Lakita ain't got no problem saying, "Nah, it's a me that I bump all y'all. I'm gone." As she would say, I'm gone. Sharon Sharon Brooks in the building. Grand Rising, great to have you. Wafia, good to see you. Wafia, I appreciate you for being present today and engaging. Marcus, it's good to see you, bro. Can't wait to catch up with my MAPS couples and parents tonight in the MAPS Relationship Academy. Valencia is in the building. Good to see you, Valencia. Latondra is in the building. Team Bonds. Kathy, one half of the Wonder Twins. Sean, is good to see you. Jill, is good to see you. Stephanie, is good to see you. Thanks for pulling up today, Leslie. Thanks for your ad. Yeah, and you listen, you got me all stirred up. I'm ready to get in the pool today. Let's go. Gail, thank you so much for pulling up today. Dr. Nicole, always a pleasure. When you pour, lady, appreciate you. Grand Rising again. My guy, Credit King Steve, is in the building. Good to see you, bro. We're talking Mental Health 360 all week this week, y'all. Creating spaces where people can come up and share and hear what it looks like to lean into this idea and killing this stigma of mental health. It's so important, particularly in the Black community. You know, we famous for just tell it to Jesus. All I need is Jesus and the Bible. And here's the crazy part about that. You don't even read scripture like that. I would almost be willing to say, you know what, that might be all you need if you use it. You don't even be using it. I know I'm on your toes. Cut it out. Mr. Hurlin, always a pleasure to have you in the building. Hey, Shar, good to see you. Grand Rising, great morning. Good to have you in the room. Hopefully we were able to add some value to you today. Rhoda Ragland from Georgetown, Kentucky is in the building. Let's go. I see you, Patricia. Thank you so much for pulling up. Appreciate you for being a part of our community. We're going to go ahead and get you a part of the club, a part of the house. And I don't know if me hitting that invite, I just invited you. So hopefully you accept the invite. It's 8:48. Y'all be good. At the end of the day, here's what I know to be true. You can't get to any place of significance by yourself. And for those of us that are still hanging out, can y'all help me out and tell people why that is? It's because we all need some help. I love this place. I love my community. Y'all be good. Go bless somebody today. If you haven't gotten up and moved by now, put it on your calendar. To the 12, you know where you can find me. In the pool. In the sauna. In the hot tub. In the steam bag. In the cold shower. Yeah, we're doing all of them today. I got a whole regimen. 2 hours. I'll see y'all later. Let's go. Y'all be good. KBC, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you so much for all of what you do to help us add value to people. Y'all be good. This room will close when the music does. We'll see y'all tomorrow. He's been